All right. So we are live. We're going to be hanging out for quite a bit this afternoon. What do we got? It's 3:23 at least my time. So let's look at the markets. We're going to take some time. I know I'm jumping on. I set this to be like 3:45. I jumped on a little bit early because I finished up what I have to do, working out and whatever. So I'm getting ready. I'm going to tell you that crazy day in the market. So this is going to be very interesting. Now, before we get into some stuff, we're just going to, kind of hang out. We'll talk about what's been going on, I guess, and then we'll start diving into some stocks and what we're looking at and seeing some stuff as it's happening. Of course, we're probably not going to have, much. I mean, I'm looking at this stuff. I have it pulled up, but we're not going to get this stuff until the polls start closing, and you might see some, unverified things on Twitter and whatnot. But what I'm going to actually do, just myself personally, is I can't wait to just kind of watch this. And what I have up is I have a consensus kind of electoral map, and then I also have just kind of what the polls, based on the polls. So just kind of, I want to compare kind of as it comes in, and I think it could be pretty good in terms of if you're seeing some of these states start going different colors than what they have, it could give you a better sense as to maybe without having to worry about media, whatever, if you don't like the media and there's this, that, and the other thing. But we're going to be just kind of basing this stuff whether you vote for Biden, Trump. That's not point of this stream. It's going to be how do we kind of trade based off of that, because that's kind of the point of the channel, I guess, right? So that's what we try to do. So one thing I've been watching as well, everything kind of points towards the market going down. And what did we see today? The market went up. Cases on the rise. We're probably going to pop over 100,000 cases in the next couple of days. Daily new cases in the U.S. Now we're testing more too, so understand that. But that's what we're looking at there. All the things pointed to the market being red, and we saw that just didn't happen. It just didn't continue into this week. So what we got here? So right now, SPY closed up kind of weak. It dropped off at the end of the day, and it's holding up. But overall, though, if we take a look back at the 1 hour chart past couple of days, it rebounded off this 322 beautifully. So SPY is looking pretty good. Website. So what I have right here is this is just 270towin.com, and then I also have Politico.com 2020 election results, and then through there through 270towin you can also look up some other consensus maps and other maps that people kind of have shared and stuff based on the polls, based on consensus, stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking at. I just figure that I want to just get, I want to be able to watch that in the background if I wanted to. So that's that. So what we have is we have this dip down here. We really held up, and it was interesting. We came down so hard Monday, Tuesday, not as much, but then Wednesday super hard, and then we kind of just held up in this little range and fell back on Friday, and then rebounded, and then we kind of pushed up. So the end of the day on Friday was very telling, actually, in the overall markets. It really was. It was when we had that low of 322.60 intraday Friday, and we closed the day way up here. We started making a push, and we pushed up to 330 at one point in that Friday afternoon session. That was pretty, that was a pretty impressive move. And that was telling, and I was like, is that going to be what's going to happen next week? I thought maybe it's just going to be kind of like a rug pull and we'll fall down to the downside. No, we held up, gapping up Monday and gapping up again today. Closed a little bit weak today. I mean, I get it, because to be honest, there is still some uncertainty. Whether the market's factoring in a Biden win, a Trump win, whatever, I don't really know. But to be honest, we don't know. How can you... Mom's going. Sorry about that. So we got a bunch of stuff going on. Now, let's talk about what we're going to expect, or what we can expect going forward. So what I'm looking at is actually we're coming up to this trend line, which is actually pretty interesting. It's not perfect, but we have this trend line. So we have a couple points on this line, and we're really getting kind of rejected at this line, which is interesting. So as of right now we'll see what happens. Now, I think, to be honest, of course, the election results are going to, either push us up or we're going to pull back down. So that's what we're going to see. Other than that, I'll go through some of the comments here too, because we kind of got the basics. I mean, we have the overall sense of the market right now. I mean, SPY, looking at what the S&P's been doing. I mean, pretty, it's bouncing. It's bouncing pretty nice off of the similar level, the similar range. I have these lines in here as prior levels of support, so I felt that this area would be support, and it would be tough to break through to the downside. But if we did, that would not be good. And we held up. So we had a consolidation, boom. So, it was honestly, it worked out pretty well. If you were trading it based off that consolidation, then you kind of got in, or you're looking to go long, Monday, right? Once we had a confirmation of that move up, it kind of worked out, although I didn't really recommend that because of the uncertainty with the election. So that's just that's kind of just my take. That was my take. And for me, I'll talk about the stuff that I'm in. I'm not in very much. I'm like 75% cash. Waiting until tomorrow. FSR long term, I love FSR long term. And it's actually rebounded really nicely the past couple of days after dropping sub 10. I thought it may hold below sub 10, but it did not. So it's back up. I like FSR. I like Plug a lot too. I kind of missed, not that I missed the boat, but let's just take a look at both of those. So FSR is Fisker. Those who don't know, I have some videos on it on the channel as well. So it fell down sub 9, and now it's back up. It's over 11, but it's probably going to consolidate. It's probably going to kind of do its little thing. I don't expect it to just rocket up, and I really hope it doesn't rocket up. To be honest, this is a longer term play for me, and we got to wait on a lot of things. Production of a first electric vehicle, the Fisker Ocean, not until 2022, so we got a lot of time on that. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that the markets have already factored in the winner. Now, if, let's say, we don't have a winner, like let's say we don't know, it's too close to call come tomorrow morning, that could be, an absolute mess for the markets. So we will see. But it's going to be honest, even if Trump wins, Biden wins, I don't really think, to be honest, I don't know how much of a deal that's going to cause tomorrow. I can see the market ripping off of a Trump win because generally, he's kind of been good, I guess, for the stock market. I mean, people, consider that, people see that. But at the same time, if Biden wins, at least we have clarity. There's no more uncertainty on the election. So we kind of have that clarity. Market hates uncertainty. So I can see it. I can see honestly both ways. I don't think it's going to be a big drop. And if it is a big drop, if we go back to SPY, I don't think it's going to be enough to drop us down below these levels. I just don't think that's going to happen. If we do drop below these levels, that'll be more of a longer term, kind of more macroeconomic thing that's going on rather than a short term reaction to the election. Solar green, yeah. So we look at the EV, the different EV. Well, EV plays are up pretty big today. Like across the board, they were all up. So look at Ride, Lordstown Motors up 22%, Workhorse up 11% on the day. That's where it finished. Hyliion up 10%, Neo up 6%, Tesla up nearly 6%, Fisker up 3%. Fisker was up a lot yesterday. So at least those are some of the bigger EVs that I personally have been watching. So those have been up pretty nice. As well as if we go back to the green energy stocks, I like to look at like TAN. Where is it? Where is my TAN? Down a little bit today, but they have been up as of late. FSLR is another one that I've been watching too. A lot of these have been up so much as of late, which potentially is pricing in a Biden win. So even if Biden wins, right, are a lot of these solar energy green plays, they might get a quick spike, but are they going to be plays that are, are really, in terms of the risk reward, do they make a ton of sense? I don't know. You're kind of running a higher risk, I think, especially if, let's say, right, a candidate wins, right, you have a couple stocks that, you think, or like, it makes sense, oh, this candidate, these stocks. If that happens, right, but the overall market goes the other way, like let's say the market goes down, Trump wins by whatever, whoever wins, but you're in a stock and you're going long, even though it might be like an oil stock or it might be like a green energy stock, right, for Biden, it just may not work out because the overall market may pull it or have a lot of pull on, either way. So that's what I'm thinking. We'll see. Let's see. Plug stock. I like Plug. I'm going to take a look at the chart for Plug actually, because Plug has been, it's up a lot today. Look at that. So we were talking about this in prior lives and prior sessions here about how it was kind of, this is going to be an area of support. And look at that. I mean, it's not perfect because we have some wicks down. We had actually a couple of days ago, we're down below here, but we recovered back pretty nice, and we really bounced off that $14 level and have really made a nice boom recovery back onto the upside. So that's interesting. Very bullish sign for Plug. I like Plug, so it's one of those stocks that I think honestly is more of a longer term play in terms of my opinion. If I was to be trading it, you can trade it for breakouts, you can trade it for support bounces, that type of stuff. and feel confident going in heavier if you're in more of a if you have a more of a longer term view. But also, buying and holding on a stock like this, I think is a solid play as well. So, let's see. Yep, I think both. Honestly, the green energy stocks. As much as you want to say that Biden's more green energy, I don't think that those are going to be going necessarily down big long term. Under if Trump wins again, that's the future. That's honestly the future of where we're going to be at some point. And so I'm not too concerned about those stocks. I think those are better long term plays, to be honest. The thing that so Brendan, I'm very what I'm watching for the riot situation is I think it's going to be interesting. I am in a couple riot plays, but I'm careful. So I'm not in huge because of course we have the election, so we have the uncertainty there. DGLY, I actually talked about this one a while back. I believe it was in my top penny stocks for the month of November video. That's when it was like back in here, and it boomed yesterday. I was kind of like, I wanted to get more. I didn't have enough. I wanted to get more. And I just wasn't comfortable buying much last week with the whole how the market was kind of doing. So I didn't feel comfortable doing that. And of course, it didn't hurt me because I actually had a decent average down here, and then I just bought some more today. So I have a pretty good average, but I don't have that much. So I'm just kind of going light, at least in this account. I also bought VISL. This is more of like it's kind of flagging on the 4-hour chart too, which is kind of a good thing if it breaks out to the upside, but it can come right back down. But the risk here isn't as much. DGLY a little bit higher risk because we do have some chart room to come on down. But I'm thinking that honestly, either way, right? If Trump wins, so one thing I was thinking about too was we saw, and I actually had I knew someone who was in DC 2016, right? So people went to the White House, right, after that night, the election night, right, when people saw, Trump's going to win. People went down and started protesting. Now, is it rioting? No, not necessarily. I don't believe there was much violence at the time, but based on what we've seen the past couple of months with protests and how some have turned violent and how you have some groups that come and instigate things and turn a peaceful protest potentially violent, which I don't know, but I think that's very likely to happen, and I think that even though these plays are up, they have a lot more potential. The reason why I like DGLY, if we look back, if we take a look at the daily chart, so we have some support at like $2, so it's getting a little overextended based on the RSI and stuff, but what we saw back, when riots were really, taking hold of the country, we saw this thing go to 7. Can it go there? I don't know, but I think it has some more room. So I think either way, we're going to have potential riots, and especially if you have some more uncertainty. I think that's almost like, it's almost going to happen, I think. It just really depends on how bad and how that is taken, how that's handled, I think. So we'll see. We'll see. VVPR. So other than that stuff, other than some of those riot plays, I'm in my swings, which if you go back to that video talking about the top penny stocks I'm watching for November, those are my swings. I'm still in them. I've been accumulating some dips, but like lately I haven't been buying too much. And I'm looking to buy tomorrow. So it was kind of a move in one way or the other. Like if all of a sudden the market starts crashing tomorrow for whatever reason, I might give it a couple of days. Obviously, I'm not going to start buying. It makes sense to buy on the red days, but ultimately, right, if the market starts crashing, let's assess why it's crashing, and then before we just start randomly buying stuff. Although the due diligence behind those plays still stands. I'm still in these for the PRs. I'm still in them for the reasons why I talk about in that video. VVPR, actually beautiful bounce. We drew this trend line, we drew this support level, and it must have been on a live stream. And it was at like 550 or 560, bounced right off of that. Boom, up 20% today. That's a beautiful support bounce. So if you're someone who played it, right, you can start looking to grab an entry or build a position out here as it starts to consolidate, as it starts to kind of come to, the slope of this line, right, starts to lessen. This downtrend, right, we see it start to kind of what seems to be a consolidation and more of a sideways move than more of a downward move. And then boom, there you go. So that worked out pretty well. VXX has been very interesting. So I scaled out of my options. I scaled out of a decent amount of my VXX because I don't really want to fight the market too much. And I think that the market may have kind of, at least the market may have some type of hold on this. So VXX is coming back down. So volatility indexes, ETFs, ETNs, they're coming back down as of late. And so I have some as a hedge, and I use it as a hedge, and I bought it back in here as a hedge. And of course, I could have sold it up around 27, and I sold some over 25. I sold some around 26, but it worked out for what I needed it to work out for. And now, as the market starts moving back on up, I'm going to be scaling out of this and then going into some long positions as long as I still see, things kind of almost how they were, I guess, pre-election. That's my thoughts. OLN working out. OLN, let's take a look at OLN. Boom, boom, boom. This is actually solid. Look at that. This is a beautiful little, we had this little downtrend breakout right here. Go in here, drawings, downtrend breakout, boom. And it's extending out, making new highs. That's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And this actually looks pretty good too in terms of this could go further tomorrow. The rest of the week, it looks like it has some potential. It's got to clear this 19 and probably 20. Yeah, it clears 19, 20, and then it has, it's got to take its little stair steps up, but it could get a couple more dollars for sure. So I do like that. LCA. Let's see. Take a look at LCA. So we've been talking about this one in some prior lives, but what we are seeing here is it bounced off of this 11 that we had back here. So it came on down, bounced up, which is good. There was some good press releases, some good stuff coming out with LCA. I have to say, I like it as a long-term play, especially at these levels. I'm looking to buy some more. I have a whole list of some growth or mid or some more growth stocks that I want to buy some more of that I'm looking post-election. I can go through some of those here. I will go through them all. Why not? So LCA is on that list. It's in a great buy range for me. Reason why I have some of these prior levels of support and resistance levels, put in. So it seems like we're coming up to this 1270-ish as now the new resistance. So we got to break above that. But ultimately, we got to get the vote date set, which is supposed to happen at the end of November. But we are still waiting on that vote date, which kind of stinks. But it is what it is. But things are looking promising. Looking to roll out, the platform, I think, in Michigan next and expanding into more states after that. And with how they've been performing in New Jersey, that's just, they're looking solid. And this is one of the stocks of the future. Online gaming, sports betting, that's a solid place to be putting some money, I think, personally, right? So that's why I like it. Yeah, the hurricane... Here's the thing, it's honestly kind of sad. They're getting destroyed, and because the hurricane stocks like PPSI, we'll pull it up, and I actually had it do today. It's down today. It stinks to say, but you need a massive category 2 to 3, right, hurricane threatening U.S. soil almost in a sense. Generally, for what I've noticed for PPSI this year to go. So PPSI, this was a monster that ran up. I remember I was looking to get in, and I was in at 150. It ran to 943 the next day, based on a hurricane. That event that hit Cancun and then it eventually got into the Gulf and hit the U.S. But there was a massive hurricane. The problem was that it came at a bad time. As much as it's terrible to say for the people who are getting affected by it, but there's too much people worrying about the election, too much of that stuff going on right now that people just, didn't catch. And these are the types of low float plays. These are the penny stock plays that they need to catch. And what does that mean? It needs to hit scanners. It needs to get called out into some free groups. It needs to get called out on Twitter, on StockTwits. It gets called out there. Somebody with a big following calls it out. It starts running up. There's a volume surge. It hits people's scanners, intraday scanners, pre-market scanners, whatever. And then people start saying, why is it running? They look into it. Oh, hurricane play. It's a generator company. Boom. That's what kind of gets it to go. And it just hasn't happened. And I'm personally not a big fan of it anymore because the hurricane season's kind of ending. Although if we have some tornadoes or winter storms, maybe this is something to look at. But that knock out power, in the future. But I don't know. It got a little pop on the last hurricane, a little bit, but nothing really that crazy. So personally, I'm not a big fan of these. Right now, especially as the season's ending. They're great to honestly look at. PPSI is one to have on a list for next year. And it's honestly a great play to be in early as kind of things progress and as we get kind of closer to Hurricane season, as things ramp up, when you get a big hurricane, boom, this is one stock that likes to run. And especially with this history of this year, next year, it's going to be great, I think, because people have seen it happen, and they are more inclined to play it as if it may happen again, right? So that's the thoughts. Let's see. Top 3 long-term growth stocks. Well, to be honest, I have a kind of like not necessarily like a top 3. I have a bunch. I think I'm very, very bullish personally on the EV sector. So if you wanted to go to like my EV watch list right here, that I have a bunch of EV stocks that I like. That doesn't mean I'm in all these right now, but the one I like the most, based off of at least where it was under 10, was Fisker. I love that. It's more of a speculative play. Yes, they actually have production starting in 2022. So it's speculative, but I believe the potential here is massive. With $1 billion cash, Tesla, to me, I'm in it. I have some Tesla. It fell out of this trend, but it's pushing back up. I'm not a big fan, though, based on where it's at right now in terms of like, I'm a fan of Tesla, but like I think you can find some potential in other ones, and that's why I like stocks like Fisker, like NIO, Hyliion, even Workhorse. I don't know, maybe I like it in this range, and it's bouncing off of the support, which is good. But I do want to see that USPS contract. We get that contract, okay? That Alex, I think it's solid. We don't. They're going to have to kind of work things out a little bit before I feel like super comfortable going into that. Lordstown Motors too, another one that ran up massively today. They may even have. If there was news, I didn't see it yet, but it ran up huge. It kind of feels like there was news because that thing ran up huge. Let's take a look, just in case. And the ticker symbol for Lordstown Motors is now RIDE. It just sounds like let's see if they had a press release or something. Yesterday, announced the merger transaction valued over. This was kind of what fueled it too. This headline was actually yesterday afternoon. So. Okay, that might have been what catapulted Lordstown Motors or RIDE, as we see. So, yeah, so it really ran to a lot of the EVs. Other than those EV plays, I like Fisker. I like NIO. Those are probably my 2 favorite. I want NIO to kind of cool down, not necessarily pull back, because a pullback. I mean, look at these breakouts. They're just beautiful breakouts, and it's getting very overextended based on the chart, but does that mean that it's super overextended? I don't know. I think this is going to keep going long term into the end of the year, but I would like for it just to consolidate and like hold up around like, maybe it's $40, maybe it's $35, maybe it comes down to like 30 and like hold up there for like a couple days, couple weeks. Let's get the chart to kind of extend out kind of horizontally, less vertical, more horizontal, and then before it makes the next move, that's where I want to be looking to buy a lot more NIO. Other than that, I like putting my money into solid stuff. So if I'm not looking in speculative things like that for long term, it's not necessarily like you don't want to be going huge. So like if I have like, let's say I had let's say $1,000, right? Or let's say $100, just to make it easy, like $100, and I'm gonna put $25, or let's say I'm gonna put $20 into like stocks like Apple or in Tesla, or maybe I have like a pool of $25. That out of that 100, I'm gonna spread out across like my Apples, Microsoft, Tesla, Facebook, what else? Amazon, maybe if I'm buying like fractional shares. Right? Let's say you have a broker like Robinhood. That's what I would do. Then maybe another $25, or maybe another even like $20, or I would say $25 more, right? Into the more like spread out your speculative. So like for me right now, a lot of that is the EV sector, right? So speculative EV trades or EV investments. So the Fiskers, the NIOs, Hyliions, Workhorse, RIDE, even. And then there's even some other ones, GPs, another one too. So then you can put that, then I like $25 I would put into like dividend stocks, right? So those are going to be like, my favorite dividend stock, which commercial real estate right now, I'm not very bullish on. I want to see how things play out with the pandemic. But it's realty income. This thing pays a dividend every single month. So, you can compound that every single month and boom. And then that's what I like there. And then like the last $25, either you can hold cash or you can, figure it out what depends upon what your kind of strategy is. But for Robinhood, right, if you use a broker like Robinhood, which I actually, like, to be honest, I don't use it. I don't mind it. For like longer term stuff, hold the cash and they pay you interest on the cash. At least you get something for your cash, right? It's better than holding it in a savings account, right? So and then you have some cash if you ever need it, right? If that's how you kind of want to structure things. So I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on how I would position a portfolio kind of long term. This account though that we follow here on the channel a lot, we don't really care about the long term. We're trying to make money today or swings, really, mostly swing trades. So not necessarily today, but like shorter term. So I played NIO for a breakout the other day. I have a video kind of talking through that trade just from the other day. But people are like, oh, why'd you sell? Because it was a breakout trade. That's why I sold. I'm not looking to hold this for the long term. I'm trying to just continue to stack the small wins here. And that's kind of the structure of this account strategy, the day trades and the swing trades. That's what I'm trying to do. So let's see. We switched up the top gainers to after hours here so we can kind of see what's been going on. And of course, if you guys don't know what I'm using the Webull desktop platform. Shameless plug, we have a link to get 3 free stocks in the description box if you ever want to grab. This platform is free. I love it a lot. This is a customized version of the platform too. So let's look at DRAD. DRAD's running up a little bit. Let's take a peek at the past, let's look at the 5 day, 5 minutes. It must have had news, and it's pushing up, and it looks like over 350, but you have some juice. So it's sitting at 340 here. It's making another extension to the upside, it looks like, and over 350 looks like it might have some juice for DRAD. So that's one that looks like it's running up here after hours. All right, let's see. I gotta go back to some of the comments. G earnings look real good. Yes, they did. They did. If they get Michigan and Pennsylvania, great long term. That's why I like it for sure. That's why, and at the levels it's at, under $15. I think. I mean, you kind of I'm not saying you're stupid not to put money there, but it's as if you're someone who's like rationally looking at like where kind of things are going and how things are moving in the overall kind of just market and how things, online gaming, sports betting, that's emerging as a bigger and bigger kind of interest, right? Lately, and so it's silly almost not to put something or to give it a shot, right, with some money, right? That's how I see it. PEC, WWR, and VVPR, same setup. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm doing good. It has been crazy. This week I'm pretty even on the account. I should be up, but I'm not because of VXX today was down. So I'm like about even. And DGLY also was one that I wish I bought more. Look at that. DGLY after hours here pushed 310. So this is starting to get some attention, which is good. I have a nice average here at 275, so I can't complain with that. But over 320 is the next level to break out over DGLY. VISL likes to be kind of a sympathy there. So VISL looks pretty good. It gets over that 150 and we have some juice. Then we got to break that 154. So yeah, 154 at least based on the level 2 that I'm seeing on Webull. 154 has the largest, I guess, size or largest size of sellers at least for the next little bit for right now. So that's what we're seeing. We're DGLY pulling back a little bit. Over 3 is solid. I think we should be able to wake up. Well, I don't know. We're not going to get, to be honest, much. After hours here closes 8 p.m. Eastern, so for those who have access to after hours trading like on a broker like Webull, I don't know if we're going to have enough results or see enough in the news or see enough riots or whatever, right, for you to say, oh, I'm going to just, I'm going to buy some last second after hours and have a gap up tomorrow morning. So it's kind of a risk. That's why I didn't want to go in too heavy because, again, we have the election. I just don't want to mess with it too much. But those could play very, very well tomorrow, especially if there are riots and if we have a contested election or we have people who are very, very upset one way or the other and things go downhill. Wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. Let's see. Those guys who are you guys who are in here, just make sure you run up the likes. I really, it helps out. We get more people in here. We get some more ideas. It's good. It's a good thing. I appreciate those who have already liked, but we got to run these likes up. I forget the record number for our lives. I've just started doing lives, but I forget the record number that we had. But we got to get over 100 likes. We had over 100, I think, in like 1 or 2 lives. But we got to get over 100 likes before, I can honestly say that this was a successful live stream. So there's that. Let's see. Let's see what we got next. PEIX. I think this was one that has been running up lately. Let's take a look. Yeah, it was running up, and people have been asking me about it. I never touched it, but because my attention came to it more so when it was up here, and I was like, well, I don't really want to mess with it up here because it's just been on an absolute tear. But it looks like this $5 or $6 area seems to be holding up as support for right now. So that could be a solid spot. Maybe maybe it comes down to this 540-ish area. That could be what I would be looking at least right here based off of these tops. So that could be a spot to watch for PEIX. If you're looking for an entry on it, then based off the technicals at least, right in here would be decent for a bounce, I think. So there's that. Let's see what else is going on here. Workhorse earnings next week. Yes. I think those are actually going to be very interesting to see because now, like you said, we're going to kind of get a sense as to, what do they got with no contract here? Do we have some, potential with Workhorse or is it contract or bust? I think that's kind of what I'm going to be waiting for personally with Workhorse. ADMP, a position that I'm in, is down 4.7% after hours. And it's down off of what seems to be pretty light volume, so I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see. So I'm still in TBLT, still in ADTX. You guys can go back if you wanted to check out that November penny stock video. That's going to give you guys like a thorough explanation as to why. DGLY. I'll pull up the 1 minute chart to get a better sense. So we kind of have. Well, we'll see if we can break that 310. That'll be nice. Appreciate it, Brendan. Appreciate it. It's, I don't ask you guys for very much other than a nice little like. That's all. I mean, people who do those paid Discords and stuff, nothing against people who do that stuff and that type of stuff. But personally, for the style that I kind of implement, it's swings. So, like, it's not like if I have ideas, I'll share them in videos. I am not trying to, like, hide ideas, but I also don't want it to just be like, come to the channel for an idea. Because, number one, I'm going to be wrong, right? And I don't want someone to just buy something off of me saying something and then they're wrong. I'm wrong, right? In the thesis behind that trade. And then they go in all in and lose money. Like, I don't want that to be the case. I want you to actually understand what you're doing and be able to kind of trade for yourself. That's the whole point of like, it's just having the stuff for free because it's hard enough as it is to be consistent in terms of, even if you're even just like a long-term investor, it's very easy to get mentally kind of thrown off and emotional with your investments and stuff. Like if you looked at like Fisker, right, and you bought in over 10 and you saw that thing go into the 8s under 9, like people definitely freaked out and they sold. And then 3 days later, right, the stock's back up to where you had your average. So, and you miss out and you lose money on that, and then you rebuy and then you get scared again. So it's like, I don't know, it's hard enough as it is. So I hope to just kind of share at least my process, what I do. DGLY is pushing up now, actually. And that's it. So like, it's not like, like this guy is kind of like whatever because he doesn't tell us, like he doesn't share. If I day trade something, many times like the NIO day trade, I show you how I did it. So it's not like, okay, I missed it. Like, okay, you can learn. Hopefully there's something to learn from the mistake that I made, how I could have maximized that trade better. I definitely could have done better on it. I could have taken profits higher, but I had my profits, my target set, and I kind of had that was it. So hopefully like those are helpful videos and stuff like that. So let's see. What's up with JE? Hasn't moved in weeks. Yeah, it might. This is another one of those. Let's take a look. It's in your like energy kind of industry, right? Oil, natural gas kind of area. So GE has been one that's it's a low float, and the reason why I like these type of stocks because like all they take is the sector to get hot and it goes, because now we're getting very quiet. But look at the potential that JE has on these spikes. So that's why it's one of those where like a lot of times like you just kind of throw a line out and you just wait. I'm not in it right now because of the election and stuff, so I'll reassess this one after the election. But it's like one of those where you toss a couple, like with a lot of penny stocks like that I tend to trade. If I don't have a catalyst on that, like if I don't have a specific catalyst, like, I'm waiting for an FDA approval on this drug, or I'm waiting for an emergency use authorization for their COVID antibody test, right? That's for ADTX, right? If I don't have that on something, like I'll be tossing lines out and waiting for them to hit because it's a stock that has previously run, right? The stock went to 850, which if you take it from 5 to 850, that's a solid percentage gain, and it can easily get going again. And it's a stock that people tend to like and like to run up. with a low float, because when a sector gets hot, everyone's looking for the lowest float, the stock that's going to move the most in the shortest amount of time, as the best place to put their money. Now, many people will get screwed and buy at the top and sell, after it's come back down. And those who are smart and those who've been doing it for a while are the ones who get in early and either throw the lines in, or know this is a day trade I'm going to be getting in, getting out, taking my 5-10%, scalp it, and move on. That's kind of the thoughts. So I'm still waiting on JE. I'll be looking at that one again after the election. Yeah, TBLT, man. I mean, it's gonna take its time. But also, one thing to also note too, and it's something that even if you see me talk about a stock, large cap earnings, and I knew this, but I just said, maybe it's different this year. You can't this time around. Large cap earnings, right? When you see the big names, the Apples, the Teslas, the Amazons, the bigger name stocks, those big companies, when they have earnings, when there's some big weeks for earnings, couple weeks, right, every quarter, that is a time when you'll see a lot of volume come out of these penny stock plays, right? And it goes into large caps and focuses on their earnings. There's less attention, easily able to be shorted on low volume. These stocks can get shorted on low volume and fall pretty big. So that's why we have that kind of worry with some of these stocks, and that was what happened with TBLT, and it's what happened with a bunch of these stocks. And also, it doesn't make sense for the company. Why would the company issue, if they have a press release, if they have to talk about what they're doing, they want to talk about their increased sales, TBLT, you want to talk about you're in Amazon, you want to talk about how you're in Lowe's, you want to talk about your new infrared patent or your new product that's coming out, right? Why would you release that press release during a time when there's no volume anyway, right? We're not seeing penny stocks running, a couple 100% in pre-market off of news. So it doesn't make sense if you have a good, kind of PR team, I guess, whoever's in charge of that, right? If you have a good team kind of involved, you're not going to allow them to, or you're not going to release something at that time. So looks like post-election could get hot. So maybe that's when they look to release it here. And they have earnings, I believe, coming up some point here in this month. Also, by the way, DGLY is running on up. So it's at 319 right now, 317 right now. So that's looking pretty good. It's funny, I cannot take anything off of DGLY because I'm out of day trades in this account. So it is what it is, but it's running up. So what we got to do here is we got to see what it's been doing. So 319 is the next level. So it's got to break this 319. We break 319, and this could be a massive gapper for tomorrow. And also, I don't know. I'm not paying attention, at least as of right now. I can look on Twitter really quick because I have some stuff that I follow. But this is a riot for those who are coming in who don't know. This is a riot play. So we're looking for, this is a police body camera stock, right? This is the company. And it likes to run when there's riots, right? So we've seen it happen before. And the anticipation is with the election, it's going to happen again. So the idea behind this, if you're looking to buy this stock, I'm not saying to buy this stock right now because I have a much lower average, so I have a lower risk in terms of this, and I don't have that much in it. But I'm looking for this to break this 319, and then we gap up tomorrow nicely. So we wake up tomorrow morning, and the stock is up, hopefully closer to that $4 area. Hopefully, that's the idea. That's the anticipation that I have, and we'll see how it goes, though. It depends how things kind of play out. So we're going to see. Let's see. Look at the chat, too. Let's see. INSG, favorite 5G play, earnings Thursday. Okay, I like that. I like 5G plays. I haven't been watching much personally, but it's not bad. ADTX, expecting the PT over 10. Yeah. So ADTX, it's what it is we're looking for a COVID antibody test, emergency youth authorization. They actually have a really interesting test. If you go back through some of their PRs, they have their antibody test, and it can detect certain things. I have no idea what I'm talking about, to be honest, when it comes to the technicalities of it. But it rather than just saying yes you had it or no you didn't, they can actually detect more than just that. So it's actually a little more advanced than just your basic yes or no type of test. So we're waiting on that. They submitted, so they should have the decision should come soon. But we may have to be waiting a little bit longer for that because it's been taking some time for those things to happen. So we'll see. I would think stimulus there would help, right? Get some more money flowing into these types of names because, right? Maybe we can speed the process up here with stimulus to combat and fight the virus and crush the virus, whatever you want to say. But we have no stimulus in sight, and who knows? That could change tomorrow. We could change tomorrow, where you may have Who knows? If Biden wins, they may come out and say, hey, when I, either next week, if it's Trump, hey, I'm going to have a stimulus, bill out very soon. Or if it's Biden, when I take over, we're going to do it right. We're going to do this, whatever. So you may have some kind of news on that front tomorrow. So we'll see. But I would anticipate that's going to help those types of stocks. FURY, penny gold play bouncing up hard. And gold, actually, from what I was seeing, gold tends to do pretty well post-election, just historically. So that could be a decent play. Let's see. Still in on HJLI. I'm actually not, but here's what I did last spike. So I'm not in this one right now, but if we go back to, let's say, the 1 hour chart, I got out on this spike. So a rule of thumb with a lot of pennies and stuff, you always sell the spike. So if you're up, if the stock spikes off of a news, like in this where there was news here, and if you don't know, just quickly look. If the stock starts running up and you're like, what's going on? If you don't have access to like a news scanner or you don't have access to something like that, well, quickly just run over to Seeking Alpha, type in, your stock and see, hey, do we have a press release here in today or recently, and see that quick. So if you're worried about that, if you're in a penny stock like that, and always, I wanted it to go higher. I thought it was going to go higher. I thought it was going to get closer to 50 cents, and maybe even it didn't. But what did I do? I still sold the pop. That's just kind of because it'll probably sell right back off, and now we're seeing a bigger sell-off. So as of right now, we take a look at what it's been doing. It's kind of falling out of the uptrend, but it has some support around that 30-cent level, and then if it goes below there, it looks like 25 cents, and maybe even worst case scenario, 20 cents. But I would not be holding it down below 25 cents if you're personally in. They do like to announce news, although the small cap market's been kind of weak lately. That may heat up going forward, and if they do announce news at the right time, it could get a pretty good spike. So it's one of those stocks I do honestly like. If you're playing it for the spike, you're playing it for the news. And they have, I believe, I even have a thing here really quick for those who care. Most people probably don't. But one thing I also have too, so I have like a note for HJLI. So they have an update on their 2 patient surgeries after the completion at the end of October. That may have been the PR that we saw already. But they're supposed to get further updates on those surgeries, 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, and 365 days. So you pretty much know after that last PR, about 30 days from there, you can probably expect another PR giving an update on how the patient is performing. So that's kind of a cool thing to kind of just note. Also, by the way, as we're talking, VISL is starting to run too. It's at 155. So here we go. This is starting to heat up. This is actually kind of fun. Because small caps have been boring, but now it broke over this 155. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes over the next couple of hours, honestly, and into tomorrow. The next couple of days, to be honest. DGLY, if it can hold over 3, that's going to be beautiful, I think, into tomorrow. Yes, I am on Webull. This is the Webull desktop platform. If you guys want 3 free stocks, and like I always will say in my videos, shameless plug, link down below. The thing is, you guys are going to get 3 free stocks. I'm only going to get 1, so it's a win-win, but you guys are winning more. And there's no he's trying to sell me a course. I'm not selling anything. I'm showing you guys a platform that I use. The thing that I love the most is when you see people who are promoting Webull and they just have a channel or they have a big enough audience, but they have no idea how to use it. They've never actually used the platform. They don't even use it themselves. That's the best. It's okay, cool, whatever. I love it for the pre-market and after-hours trading. You can start trading. If you are, on crack or whatever, and you want to start trading at 4 a.m. Eastern, you can do it. You can do it because you can start trading at 4 a.m. Now, I can't guarantee you there's going to be much action at 4 a.m., but tomorrow morning, you may get some action on DGLY, VISL if we have riots overnight. So you may get some action there, and that's where it may actually kind of be useful, but I'm telling you that I'm not up at 4 a.m. trading on Webull. I'm not doing that. I get up before 6 at 5:30, but I'm not up at 4 a.m. Let's see. Webull just gave me 5 free shares of 2 different stocks. Well, that's okay. There you go. All right, so let's take a look here. So we have VISL, DGO. They're volatile though, because they're popping now. VISL is back under 150, so it's getting some push. It's pushing up, pulling back. it's going to do that for a little bit, especially after hours. There's a little bit less kind of liquidity. So that's fine. It's going to be what it is going to be. But the overall market, so SPY is holding fairly steady from where it closed, so not too much to talk about there. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we got going on. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, I don't think we have any results, but like, for those who are coming in now, this is going to be like I'm trying to compare the live results. This is 270 to win. We're not going to get results, I believe, until polls start closing, right? So I don't know if people know more about this, and let me know. But I want to compare kind of like this is a better looking map, to be honest. Like this stuff, what's actually happening based on the consensus and then based on the polls. So like that's what I want to see. That's what I'm watching. It's just kind of like a fun side thing. And I think we should get a pretty good sense tonight. I think we should. So those who are looking to stay up, I think we'll have a decent idea. That's what I'm thinking. Verb, what do you think? Let's take a look at Verb. VERB. Daily chart. It's actually, ooh, this looks pretty good. The reason why is because we seem to have what looks like a support here around this $1 level. So I can draw a horizontal line in here just so you can see. So, and then it looks like what it does, it seems like a pretty solid 10%. Like you can almost get 10% every single time. So when I say that is that, look, lately we've been seeing this pattern bouncing off around $1, roughly $1. We start this kind of curve and then it starts pushing back on up. And so you may be able to get in here, let's say at 110, and be able to get this up to like 125 or 120, 125, which is like 10%. So that's a solid 10% play that you can continue to do. And if it breaks out or has news and has a bigger move, well, then there you go. It breaks out over this 125, 127, boom, then there you go. So I kind of like it. But for me, if it does drop, now, if it drops below $1, don't just immediately have a stop loss at 99 cents. That's not what you want to do because it's done it before. But if it drops below and holds below for like a day or more than like a couple hours, then that's probably not a good sign. So that's what I would see. And maybe it could do it, but personally, based on the risk reward, for me, it's a $1 buy around 1. I'm getting calls from Atlanta. Buy it around 1 and then look to sell it, up above, looks like 120-ish. Looks like, or buy it under 110 if you can, and then sell 120 and just rinse and repeat that as the pattern kind of progresses. But I like it. I don't know much about it, but if you have any, especially if you have more due diligence on it, like that's great. If you know, hey, they're doing this, this, and this, and that's growing, boom, even better, right? It fits the thesis really good. So I like that. Cbat and CEI. Let's take a look at Cbat. So it's coming down, but the question is going to be really, when it looks like it's trying. Let me redraw or kind of draw this this guy in here. It looks like it's trying to. Maple's messing with me here. It's trying to break out, so it's getting close to the point of a potential breakout. So that's what I'm watching on this guy, Cbat. So it's looking like it's trying to find some support here at this 240, 250-ish. And let's take a look at CEI. Personally, it's up too much for me. I would look for it. I don't know. It may very well bounce and bounce beautifully, but I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest. So we'll see. CEI is actually looking really good because we have this 50 SMA, this blue line that it's holding up on and it's trying to make a reversal out of. So this looks really good, especially around that 75 or 70 cent support. That looks solid. So we'll see. But that's what I actually kind of like that bounce on CEI. Less of a fan of the Cbat chart, but more of a fan. Oops, sorry guys, if that made a loud sound. More a fan of the CEI chart personally. And they have a merger vote coming. Okay, there you go. What would you do if you have $15,000 for today and early tomorrow to spend on stocks? Personally, I would not be just throwing $15,000 randomly. I would be waiting. I am waiting on the election results first off before I buy more. And then I have stocks. I have swing trades that I like, and I have riot plays. So DGLY and VISL, I'm in them because riots. These stocks like to run up when we have riots, and I'm anticipating some riots potentially tonight, tomorrow, the rest of the week, this weekend, depending upon what happens in the election. So I'm looking at those. That's what I'm looking at right now. And then if we wake up tomorrow, the market loves whatever happened, and we have kind of like this is what we're doing. Like the market's going up. We have some certainty on who won. Then it might make some sense to go long on some other trades as well. And that's what I'm personally looking to be buying, some more value trades. And so for me, some value trades or some value plays that I like are some SPAC plays, LCA, FSR. I'm going to be buying some Hyliion, buying some more Hyliion, buying some more FSR. NIO, I want to get, whether NIO pulls back or something, I'm probably just going to buy some very soon. And then on dips, accumulate more. Or just dollar cost average into that one build out a pretty nice big long-term position on NIO. So that's that. Let's see, VUZI. Let's take a look at this guy. Look at the daily chart on VUZI. All right, so VUZI looks decent. It's trying to hold up around this 375, so it looks pretty good. If it gets back over 4 and starts closing above 4, that's a nicer reversal. So it had this downtrend, or we have this downtrend right here. And if we draw in a trend line, well, it's not perfect, but we can kind of draw something in, I think. From this high, not perfect. But that's that. So it's trying to break out, gets over $4. I think it's a nice reversal. You can draw this downtrend even from here if you wanted to, same general idea. You can even pull it in here and say, hey, it's breaking out, if you wanted to. So it looks like it's making a reversal right there. Let's see. NNDM, what you loved? Are you talking about, Brendan, are you talking about Dave? What Dave are you talking about? Are you talking about Mr. Investor Dave? Let's see. This is recovering here at 290, so it's popping back up. So NNDM looks decent. I know ARK Invest, I think, right? ARK Invest is in NNDM or likes NNDM personally. So it's looking like it's holding up around this 3 or trying to get back above 3. That Dave, okay. Okay, so we're back above 3. This looks pretty good. I like it. I personally like it. If it gets back above 3, hold above 3, boom. Let's see. Hyliion. I haven't looked at Hyliion. Let's take a look. So it looks like Hyliion. Let's see. Yeah, I think it did. It definitely did, because what we can see here is based on this, it lines up pretty well with this prior area of support here, some consolidation here, this level right here that we held up. So it looks like Hyliion has found support here at this 1850 or so. So that's looking pretty good, and it's looking like it's making a bounce and recovery. Now, it's got to get back above 25, because I like 25 as another area of prior support, now going to be resistance. So we'll see what happens, but this is I think under 25 on Hyliion's a beautiful buy range. This is a beautiful buy range. It's not going to be here for long as things go as somewhat planned, right? They have some crazy revenue predictions, and the CEO has stood behind those predictions, so we'll see. But that's going to be interesting to see what happens with Hyliion. So that's that. What else? What else do we have? So let's look at. So let's see what our DGLY are doing, and our VISL. So they're pulling back. So they're going to be kind of up and down. The thing that I think is fun is as you get a handle on some of these things, as you get a handle on how, and especially if you're not limited to day trades, right? If you're not limited by the PDT rule, which is why I recommend a cash account to people who are starting out. And if you don't know how to do it on Webull, you can actually ask support if you don't know how to do it, but there's actually a way in the settings somewhere where you can transition from margin to cash account, but you have to liquidate all trades and hold it for like 2 days for it to settle, and then you can transfer your margin to a cash account on Webull. Other brokers have slightly different rules, but it's generally the same idea. But I recommend a cash account for people under 25K, so you don't have to worry about the PDT rule. And the fun thing with a lot of stocks, a lot of penny stocks at least, that's why I like that stuff. But long term, I don't like penny stocks. Obviously, I trade penny stocks short term. But for those types of stocks, they're fun because you can like DGLY, right? So like it goes up to 319. I knew that was a prior area of resistance based off of, if you just look back the past 5 days, it came up there before and it couldn't break. So okay, so it shows that it can't break. Okay, I'll just take some off and then I'll rebuy it here, and then I'll just keep playing up and down, scalping up and around. And you can, I wouldn't be going in heavy on that stuff, but if you are bored and you really want to just kind of mess around, as you get a feel for how stocks move, you can kind of just start flipping, 2% here, 3% here, 5% here, left and right. Now off of small shares, it's the risk is fairly minimal, and especially if you get a stock that like it hits like a a stop loss hunt, or it falls through support one day and all of a sudden it goes down 10%, but then it comes right back up and recovers like 8% or 9%. Those are fun. I think it's definitely, and people I know people who literally do that, and like they make plenty of money doing that. Like it's like a legitimate thing. So it's not just, ultimately, if you really want to talk about making like significant money off of, these types of trades, yeah, you want to be in it for the DGLY move from 230 to 319. Yeah, that puts some cash in your account. That builds up your account. But you can still flip and make a few bucks here and there, for sure. Appreciate, guys. Although we are not hitting the like threshold that we want, we're probably going to have to, I'm going to probably wrap things up fairly soon in like another 10 minutes. Or so, and then I might come back on later tonight. We'll see, because not much is going on. Like, to be honest, like we've been talking about some good stuff. Cool. Let's see what happens. Let's get some data. Let's get some data here in terms of, let's see some states coming in. If I don't do it tonight, we'll eat tomorrow. Let's get some more data, and then we can kind of say, oh, well, it looks like a Biden win. It looks like a Trump win. How are the futures reacting to that? And actually, the futures right now, which they look like they're probably even. If you look at SPY is like, it's even. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's see. Then long TTCF and Hyliion, I think those are looking great into the end of the year. I think those are solid. I think those are solid. Let's see. You hear about the YouTube trauma? Paid advertising. Yeah. So that's actually funny. I saw a couple of videos on that stuff. It is a thing. I've gotten, so I think someone exposed an email. I've gotten an email about that, and I had someone reach out to me and say, hey, I'm gonna, we'll pay you $500 if you make a top 3 penny stocks right now video on these 3 OTC penny stocks. I said no, because I was like, first of all, I will not be making a top 3 penny stocks on penny stocks that I have, number one, not done the research myself. Now, I of course looked into them and was like, no. But it's a thing. It is a thing. People do it, and I then saw, and I was asking them, I went back and forth with the guy, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't call it a top 3. So that's a no. And then he didn't respond. He literally didn't respond, and I was like, okay, whatever. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to set up some influencers for next week, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, to be honest, what you probably could have done, what I could have done is I could have, bought up those penny stocks, OTC stocks, and just wait for the pump, and then I could have sold into the pump, but I didn't do that either. But so he that's what he said, and I was like, okay, whatever. And so I was watching, so I started looking at and doing some searches, some Googling, top 3 penny stocks, the title that he was kind of recommending the next week, and I found the people who did it, and I saw that in their descriptions, what they said, that they were paid to do it, and to be honest, I'm not going to say that like, oh, like that, as long as you say you were paid to do this, that's that. But at the same time, if I'm going to get paid to do something like that, I can't possibly say these are my top penny stocks if I'm getting paid to do that. Like, they're not mine. They're somebody else's that gave me the idea, and I'm just looking into them and talking about the research. So I was like, okay, if I was to ever accept something like that, like I could do something like, they even said like they do the interviews, or they do this or they do that. I get it. Like if you want me to interview like a CEO, like, okay, like can compensate me. I'm not going to recommend people to buy the stock. I say do your own due diligence, like do your own research. Like I always say, that's the idea. So probably not going to see that from me, honestly, unless there was some really weird or perfect opportunity that made sense. But it's real. It happens. Although the paid promotion for like bigger stocks like Workhorse, or like there was some stuff about that, that's not happening. I'll tell you that right now. It's probably not happening because, the Workhorse stuff. I'll tell you the reason why people make those videos. Like straight up, they get a ton of views. Like look at some of the guys who make these Workhorse videos. Like they get a ton of views, and they pay pretty. Like the CPMs in how-to videos, the CPMs, which is like how much you're gonna get paid per per 1,000 views, like, or how much the ad rates are. The CPMs are already high in like how to investing, trading, money-related content. If you're making specific stock videos, the CPMs are actually a little bit lower, or decently lower, depending upon exactly how much what your CPM is, which everyone's is different on YouTube. but they get so many more views because you put like buy now question mark, and they get so many more views. And so that's why those guys are making those videos. And there's nothing against that. Let them make the videos. They're just saying, hey, like I'm in it, here's why, and I'm riding out. And that's fine. They're not getting paid to do that from YouTube. Like they're making enough money from YouTube. So it's like, okay, they don't really care. Like you can call them paid promoters or whatever. Like YouTube's paying them enough to be paid promoters. So there's that. But I've never actually accepted any money from someone telling me to promote a stock. Never have. I've had emails though about it. Let me tell you. Okay, FVAC. Let's take a look at some of these, and then we'll wrap things up here, guys. What I'm thinking about doing is coming back on later. This is what I'm thinking. So we'll see. This is actually what it's doing here. Is it's found support here at this $11 or so. So this looks pretty good. It's looking like it wants to reverse. It's got to break back above like this 1225, this area right here. So it's got to make a nice little recovery, but it's actually looking pretty good at holding up support here. So I like that for right now. DOYU, D-O-Y-U. I know people who've been watching this one as well, but here is my play on it. So it's funny, I had this trend line just conveniently already here. Breaks out of this trend line, then I like it for a breakout trade. There you go. So potentially options. Do they even have options? Yeah, they do, I guess. So it would be a nice option breakout trade, or just buy a decent amount of shares. It's not a super volatile stock, so you should be fairly comfortable going in a little bit heavier than, let's say, like a $1 penny stock, right? But this looks pretty good for a breakout over this resistance. And it probably will be a multi-day breakout, I would think. It's not just going to have one day and then come back down. It'll probably be a like it comes up a little bit, holds back up, tests this level as support, and then goes. Like that's like the best type of breakout, personally. If you would subscribe to any paid trade, so there are two things that I have done, and this is not like I don't mean to plug anything, but so I have in the description box of all my videos. So I have a course that I took initially when I got started, and then I have a Discord group that I pay for. Now I don't recommend hey, you need to go buy this and whatever. I don't say you need to do that, but it helped me. So that's why I have it linked down below in the description. And that one's primarily for penny stocks. So if you're looking to get into penny stocks, that Discord group is the Prosperity Trading Group. I found as a paid group, probably one of, if not the best paid group you're going to find. There's a bunch of free groups as well. Sometimes the free groups are good. They're also bad because there's a little bit less, it's less educational in a sense at times. That group is very educational in terms of the content there, and in terms of just the live trading every day is very educational. And if you're sticking with it and you're actually learning from it and implementing and improving and journaling and learning from your trades and putting in the time, you will succeed. It just takes some time. Ultimately, everyone's going to be on a different learning curve, but it's helped me a lot for sure. I tell you that. I guess it's kind of similar. Facebook ads and Jim Cramer's coverage. I don't know. Everyone's kind of. I don't know. Is it? You can have your thoughts on. Is it bad? I don't necessarily have a huge problem with people getting paid to promote stocks, as long as they're not, doing it. It depends how you're doing it. If you're gonna get paid to promote penny stock videos, right? But you're getting paid $500 and you're saying these are the top penny stocks, you got to buy them right now. And you're, first of all, you loaded up beforehand and we're like, okay, I'm gonna make this video. I have a lot of followers. I'm gonna pump these stocks. My followers are gonna buy these stocks up. They're gonna run 100%. I'm gonna sell into them. That I do not like. And there are people who do that with Twitter followings and stuff like that. That stuff in stock followings, that happens. But I don't know in terms of how you can get, the SEC can get involved and how you can get screwed. So that's number one, why I would want to stay away and never would accept money for making a video on something that I haven't done my research on, first of all. But I don't know, it's similar. It's the same type of thing. You're spreading the word. It depends on how you say it. But if you're just spreading the word of what the company does and why it may be a good choice, as long as you do your own research and you're telling your audience, hey, do your own research, whatever, I think it's fine. You're just getting paid to spread some of that word, I guess. I don't think it's that bad. As long as, just understand that when you're watching those videos, and that's the thing how it is. When you see a video of buy now, this, even for mine, and I don't try to make mine as scammy type of buy this now. If you see those types of videos, be careful in terms of, and just do, it's very simple. do your own research. Like, people who watch my videos and they're like, yeah, FSLR, it's trash. Like, it's the next Nikola, right? Okay, do your own research. I have done mine. I will make the video based off of what I'm doing, based off of my research, based off of my technical analysis. I have already determined myself in my head that it is worth the risk, and the risk reward makes sense to me. Of course, because every investment has risk. There's always risk you got to manage. If you are not a fan, that's fine. If you are not willing to take that risk and you don't like it, that's fine. That's all all I say is, like, just make sure you do your own research and you actually kind of have a plan going, and don't just buy something because someone says buy it. It's like, that's like the worst way, and then you complain when it goes down. Like, that stuff is that's honestly like funny, like, to me. Like, okay, really, please. Solar, I think, depends on the. I mean, I think I like solar plays longer term too, but it's actually funny. I had an internship last summer in a company that did a lot with solar, but solar plays I like long term. If Biden wins, they could really run. So it's gonna be. I'm watching that industry, that sector very closely. Look at some green energy plays that I have. FSLR. First Solar is one that I have on the list. It can pop over 100, I think, if Biden wins. But again, that's the uncertainty there of he's got to win. Got to get that continuation move with a lot of these types of plays. So we'll see. Brendan, thanks for coming in. Let's see. You should do call-outs. There's a group. Yes, so the group that I'm a part of, they do. Every single day they have alerts. Like, they have like actual trading alerts, like live every day. And if you are on the voice trading on Discord, like, you'll hear them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They do pre-market, and then every single day, starting at like 9:15 Eastern, they do like every single day like live trading. So that's why it's helped. Especially, it's really more for day trading. I use it a lot for swing trading. I don't really do as much day trading in there, but it's been awesome in terms of just getting a lot of great information from people who are experienced. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it, because people don't like paying for stuff. But just, if you can afford it and you want something like that for educational purposes, then that group, the Prosperity Trading Group in the description, it's there. It's what I've used, and I still pay for it myself. So it's like, it's a somewhat of a plug, but also not really. You don't have to do it. I try to make the channel stuff that I'm learning, so like, it's free. You don't have to you don't have to go and pay for stuff like that. Hopefully. GE. That's the thing for me. I mostly do swing trades. Like, I don't really necessarily need to alert anything, and not that I really care too much to alert stuff. I prefer understanding how stuff works, that you don't need to rely on someone's alerts. And ultimately, that's how you have to do it. That's how you have to get. Now, early on, early stages of your trading, you may feel like you need alerts, but later on, you shouldn't need that. And that's ultimately the goal, is to progress to that point where you don't need that. Look at GE. So here's that trend line, the uptrend that we have going on for GE. It's pushing up today nicely. So I would like it if it comes back to this uptrend. If we take a look at the macro, though, GE is honestly looking pretty good. Macro, it's got to break over this 857, and then looks like it's in the clear here for a potential further move up towards 10 plus. So I like GE as a recovery play, at least GE, ELY, and then we're going to wrap things up here, guys, because I am probably going to be eating dinner soon. You got to figure out what to do there, and then I might come back on. So what I'll be doing is I'll potentially come back on later tonight. So if you guys just turn on the notifications if you want, at least just for tonight. If you don't like them, then turn them off tomorrow. If I come back on, because I'm going to be watching futures, election results and stuff like that. So hopefully we can get some more clarity, because we don't really have any of, as I honestly, this morning when I created this live stream, was like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have some like crazy action going on. Like, we don't really have much action, like, unfortunately. There's that. Let's see. So here it is. This is actually looking pretty good. It's bouncing. Looks like that 15 looks like a bounce. Break above 17, we get into this gap, and then you have a nice little gap fill. So that's a pretty nice, I think this is a solid. Get into this gap, and then we have a little gap fill there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap things up in a second, but with the stocks, I'll talk about quickly the stocks that I'm in personally, because let's take a look here. Where's my positions? Here it is. So I'm in ADMP, TBLT, ADTX, and those are in my November top penny stock video, as well as DGLY. And you can go back and find that video to see details as to why I'm in those. That's me. But the ones I like the most right now are DGLY and VISL. Two riot-related plays. So we see riots based on the results of the election. Either way, I don't really care. I mean, like, not that I don't care. I do, but I'm not going to say, my thoughts. Not a political channel by any means. either way, I think we're going to see potential riots, and these will get some attention into tomorrow. So that's why I like them. I'm swinging them. They are up. Like if DGLY is up the past 5 days, it's up. I'm in this for a while. Just full transparency. I've already been in here. I've already taken profits here, but I'm back in, and I have a little bit more. I'm looking for a little bit of a bigger move. VISL, I think, is a little bit lower risk. It's not up as much, but it also likes to be, it's more of a sympathy. So like DGLY is like the leader of the pack. If it goes up, VISL will probably go up as well, unless they come out with their own news, which of course they could. That's a possibility as well. And for those asking about the group is linked down below if you guys want to check that out in the description, the resource section of the description box. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate it, Dave. Really quick, NMDM is holding up at support right now. We talked about that earlier. It's holding up at support, looking for like a reversal on up. I may come back on later on the way out. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out and subscribe. If you guys aren't subscribed, we're having fun here every single day. So it's awesome. We do live streams a bunch of times a week, at least every single Sunday night. We do a live stream going over the top stocks that we're watching for the week. So if you get your friends, whoever you want to have, let's curate a big watch list. That's the whole point, is to curate a big watch list, get some good ideas flowing, and that's it. So with that said, guys, I will see you in a future video or tonight for a future stream if we have some more data coming in later on tonight. So appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in a future video. Peace.